If it feels like everything you try keeps falling apart, and every time you fix one problem another one appears, I want you to stay here for a moment. Maybe you are tired of trying, tired of waiting for something to finally go right, and quietly wondering how much more you can carry. Before you face another day with that weight on your heart, pray with me, because this morning you do not have to carry all of it alone. The Bible says in Psalm 55:22, "Cast your burden on the Lord, and He will sustain you." So wherever you are right now, bring the frustration, the disappointment, and every unanswered question with you, and let us pray. Jesus, I need to talk to you about something I have been carrying quietly because I do not know how to explain it without sounding ungrateful. Lately, it feels like nothing is going right. I know there are still good things in my life, people I love, moments I am thankful for, and reasons I keep getting up every morning. I am not saying my whole life is terrible. You know what I mean. It feels like every time I get one thing under control, something else goes wrong. Every time I think I can breathe for a moment, another problem appears. I make a plan, something changes. I fix one situation, another one needs my attention. I keep telling myself next week will be easier, that I only need to get through these few difficult days. But lately, I have started wondering how long I have been saying that. I am frustrated, Jesus. That is the truth. I keep trying, and sometimes I wonder where all this effort is taking me. I can wake up with a clear plan for the day, and before the morning is over, one phone call changes everything. Money I had set aside for something important suddenly has to go toward an expense I did not expect. I wait for a call or message I hoped would bring good news, check my phone more times than I want to admit, and nothing comes. Something breaks just when I thought I was finally catching up. A simple conversation becomes another misunderstanding I did not have the energy for. None of these things alone may look enormous, but when they keep arriving one after another, I start waking up with a question I hate carrying. What is going to go wrong next? I do not want to live expecting bad news. I remind myself that difficult days happen to everyone, that one setback does not mean my whole life is falling apart, and that I should deal with one thing at a time. Some days I can do that. Other days, those words do not reach the part of me that is worn down from trying again. I look at how many times I have adjusted my plans, started over, waited longer, worked harder, and told myself not to give up, and I cannot understand why I still seem to be standing so close to where I started. Sometimes I am not asking for a miracle that changes everything overnight. I just want one thing to work without becoming another problem I have to solve. You have seen the plans I made carefully. You know I did not walk into everything carelessly. I prayed, I waited when I believed I should wait. I asked questions and tried to make wise choices with what I knew at the time. That is part of what makes some disappointments difficult to understand. There are situations where I genuinely tried to do the right thing and still ended up confused. I prayed before taking the step, and the road was still hard. I trusted someone and was disappointed. I worked toward something for months and watched it end differently from what I hoped. After enough things like that happen, I begin questioning myself. Was there something I missed? Did I make a wrong decision without realizing it? Am I forcing something I should release, or am I walking away from something that simply needs more patience? My mind can examine one choice from so many different angles that eventually I no longer trust my own judgment. I imagine what life might look like if I had chosen differently, but I cannot go backward and test another version of my life. I only have the road underneath my feet now, and some days I honestly do not know what the next right step is. Then comparison finds me, usually when I am already discouraged. I see someone celebrating the thing I have been waiting for. Someone tells me about a door that opened for them, while I am still trying to understand why mine closed. I see people moving forward, building things, reaching places they prayed for. And before I can stop it, a quiet question rises inside me. When will something finally work out for me? I do not like admitting that because I really am happy when good things happen for people I care about. Their joy is not the problem. The problem is what my mind does afterward. I take someone else's good news and use it as evidence that I am falling behind. Then I feel guilty, so I immediately remind myself of everything I should be grateful for. And I am grateful, Jesus. But I am beginning to understand that gratitude and disappointment can exist in the same heart. I can thank you for what I have and still admit that something hurts. Pretending I never feel disappointed does not make me more faithful. It only makes me quieter about what is actually happening inside me. There are things I stopped talking about because I became tired of explaining situations that still have no ending. At first, I shared my plans with excitement. Then time passed, circumstances changed, and I had to explain why things did not work out. After a while, keeping quiet felt easier. Now when someone asks how something is going, sometimes I give a short answer and move on. I just do not have the energy to tell the whole story again, when I still do not know how it ends. You know those stories, Jesus. You know what I hoped for before anyone else knew about it. You remember the excitement I felt when I thought something was finally changing. You also know what happened when the answer never came, when the opportunity disappeared, or when something I counted on suddenly changed. You saw me try to understand what I was supposed to do next. You have seen me begin again quietly, because I did not want to announce another attempt that might fail. And if I am going to be completely truthful, there have been moments when I was angry. Sometimes I was simply angry that everything had to feel so difficult at the same time. I would solve one problem and discover that something else needed attention. I would think I finally had enough money set aside for something important, and another expense would arrive. I would wait patiently for an answer and receive another delay. Inside, I wanted to ask why I could not have one quiet season where I was not constantly adjusting to something I never planned for. There have even been moments when I wondered where you were in all of it. I do not like saying that because part of me thinks I should always sound confident when I talk to you. I know I am supposed to trust your timing and believe that you are working even when I cannot see it. But there were moments when those words were in my mind, while my heart was still confused. I prayed for direction and felt lost. I asked for a door to open and watched nothing move. I asked you to make something clear because I was tired of guessing, and the situation became more complicated. I know faith does not mean getting everything I ask for. I understand that, but understanding it does not mean disappointment never hurts. Sometimes I wanted a simple answer. I wanted the next step to be obvious because I was tired of questioning myself. Sometimes I wanted one small piece of good news that did not come with another problem attached to it. When that did not happen, I kept going, but I carried questions with me. So I am bringing those questions here now. Not because I want to walk away from you, but because I do not want distance growing between us while I pretend everything is fine. I do not understand why some things took so long. I do not know why certain doors closed or why some problems arrived at exactly the moment I felt least prepared for them. Maybe one day some of it will make sense. Maybe parts of it never will. Right now, I need you here in the part of the story where I do not have an explanation. Something else has happened to me during this season. I have become careful with hope. When something good seems possible, I do not let myself get too excited. A thought immediately comes behind the excitement and tells me not to trust it yet, because I remember what happened last time. When I make a plan, part of me starts preparing emotionally for it to fail. I tell myself I am only being realistic, but sometimes I think I am simply afraid to be disappointed again. That way of living has its own cost. I do not want fear standing beside every good possibility. I do not want to receive good news and immediately search for what could ruin it. I have already lived through enough real problems. I do not need to create new ones in my imagination. Still, I can feel myself bracing for impact even on quiet days. Nothing is wrong in that moment, but I cannot fully enjoy it because part of me is waiting for the next interruption. Help me understand the difference between wisdom and fear. I want to learn from what I have been through without making every new opportunity pay for an old disappointment. I do not want one person's dishonesty to make me suspicious of everyone. One failed plan should not decide how I feel about every plan I make from now on. This has been a difficult season, but I do not want difficulty to become the lens through which I see the rest of my life. Sometimes I wonder whether all these problems mean I am doing something wrong. My mind starts searching for a reason. Maybe I do not pray enough. Maybe my faith is too weak. Maybe I should have been more disciplined, patient, or careful. Before long, every difficulty becomes another accusation against me. I know I have things to learn, and I do not want to avoid responsibility for my choices. If I have made a mistake, I want the humility to admit it. But not every painful thing is proof that I am a failure. Give me clear eyes, Jesus. If there is something I need to change, let me see it without destroying myself with shame. If I have been walking in the wrong direction, give me courage to turn around. If I am holding something that has already ended because I am afraid to let it go, help me release it. But if I am simply walking through a difficult part of the road, do not let me spend all my strength blaming myself for every stone under my feet. I am beginning to notice what fear does when I let it speak for too long. It takes one painful moment and starts making statements about my whole life. One door closes, and suddenly I think no door will open. One person disappoints me, and I wonder whether anyone can be trusted. One plan fails, and I start questioning everything I have ever tried. A difficult month becomes a prediction about the next 10 years. Fear takes something happening now and tells me it will always be this way. I need help staying with what is actually true. This moment may be difficult, but I cannot see my whole future from here. A plan failed, but it was one plan, not every possibility left in my life. A door closed, but I do not know every door that still exists ahead of me. I can be disappointed without declaring my life hopeless. I can be confused without deciding I have been abandoned. There are mornings when I wake up already thinking about the same problem I carried to bed. I take it into the shower, to breakfast, into work, and through conversations with people who have no idea that half of my mind is somewhere else. I have sat beside people I love without really being present, because my mind was already inside tomorrow. I have looked at a quiet morning and missed it because I was mentally gathering every unfinished problem in my life and trying to solve them all at once. Money, work, family, plans, relationships, responsibilities. The future, I put everything on the same mental table and then wonder why I feel overwhelmed. Maybe I have been asking myself to do something no person can do. Nobody can solve an entire life in one morning. Jesus, bring me back to the next step. Not the whole road and not every answer. Just what is actually in front of me now. There may be one thing I can do today, and there may be 5 things I can do nothing about today. Give me wisdom to know the difference. I have spent too much energy thinking about outcomes I cannot control, and then felt too drained to deal with the simple thing waiting right in front of me. There have been moments when I wanted to stop trying. I do not mean giving up on life. I mean giving up on hoping that things could be different. I thought about stopping the plans, the attempts, and the belief that the next effort might finally lead somewhere. I wondered if it would hurt less to expect nothing. But I am still here talking to you, and maybe that means more than I realized. After all the frustration, after all the questions, after every time I told myself not to hope too much, something in me still came here. Maybe hope is not always loud. Maybe sometimes hope is simply the part of a person that keeps praying when they do not know what to say anymore. That is where I am today. I do not need a quick answer that makes a complicated life sound simple. I need your presence here in the confusion. I need to know how to walk with you when I cannot tell whether anything is changing. I want to stay close even when I am disappointed. I want to pray without pretending I am not frustrated. I want to trust you without forcing myself to say that I understand everything you are doing. If my heart is confused, I want to bring the confusion here. If I am angry, I want to say it before anger quietly becomes distance. And if I am afraid, I want to stop hiding that too, because I am afraid sometimes. I am afraid things will keep going wrong. I am afraid I will keep trying and somehow remain in the same place. I am afraid of another unexpected problem arriving when I already feel stretched. I am afraid that I am wasting time or choosing the wrong road. There, I said it, that is the truth I have been carrying. I cannot see what is ahead, and I cannot promise myself that nothing else will go wrong. I have tried to create safety by thinking through everything that could possibly happen, but it has not made me safer. It has only made me live through problems before they arrive. So here I am, Jesus, standing in the middle of a life that does not look the way I thought it would look by now. Some things are unfinished, some plans did fail, and some questions are still sitting here without answers. But maybe I have been making a final judgment about my whole life, while I am still standing in the middle of the story. I do not know what you can still do with the things that did not work out. I cannot see what might grow from a plan that fell apart, or what direction might appear from a road that feels confusing now. I have been staring so hard at what went wrong that maybe I forgot I still cannot see what comes next. I do not know what to do with all of this anymore. I have tried to understand it, fix it, and predict what comes next, but I am still here with questions. So I am bringing them to you now, Jesus. Not from a place of perfect trust, because I am not going to pretend I am there yet. I am bringing them with frustration still mixed in, fear still sitting somewhere in my chest, and a small part of my heart that wants to believe there is more ahead than what I can see from here. I do not know how to release all of this in one moment, but I think I am finally ready to stop fighting you for control of the ending. Maybe that is where I need to begin, Jesus, by admitting that I cannot control the ending. I have spent so much time trying to see what is coming that I have barely known how to live inside the day you have already given me. I wanted answers before taking another step. I wanted to know whether the next plan would work, whether another door would close, whether the effort would be worth it, and whether I could survive another disappointment. I thought knowing these things would make me feel safe, but I do not know them, and trying to guess has only made me more afraid. So I am not going to pretend that surrender is easy for me. I am simply admitting that the way I have been carrying this is not working anymore. I cannot keep trying to think my way into a future where nothing ever goes wrong. You know how quickly my mind returns to the same questions. I can pray about a situation and begin worrying about it again before the day is over. I can tell you that I trust you and still look for signs that something bad is about to happen. I do not want to make some emotional promise that I will never worry again, because you know me better than that. I may reach for control again. I may wake up tomorrow and feel the same uncertainty trying to pull me back into old thoughts. When that happens, please bring me back to what is real. Remind me that I do not have to live tomorrow before it arrives. Remind me that one problem is one problem, not proof that everything in my life is falling apart. I think that is what I have been doing. When one plan fails, I remember every other plan that failed. When one expense appears, my mind runs years into the future and imagines that I will never have enough. When one person disappoints me, old hurts begin speaking too. Suddenly, I am not carrying one difficult moment anymore. I am carrying every moment that ever made me feel this way. No wonder it becomes so heavy. Help me stop adding yesterday's pain and tomorrow's fear to something that is already difficult enough today. There are things I still wish had happened differently. I cannot pretend otherwise. There are decisions I still question and doors I wish had stayed open. There are moments when I wonder what my life would look like if one conversation had gone differently, if one opportunity had worked out, or if I had known then what I know now. But I cannot build a life inside those questions. I cannot keep returning to a road I did not take and imagining that everything would have been easier there. I do not know that. I only know that I am here now, and this is the life in front of me. Help me leave some things where they ended. Not because they were meaningless, and not because they did not hurt, but because I cannot keep asking the past to become different. There are doors I cannot open by standing outside them longer. There are people I cannot force to understand me. There are answers I cannot hurry. If something is truly over, give me the courage to stop trying to bring it back to life. If something needs more time, give me patience without allowing waiting to consume me. And if there is another step I need to take, make me brave enough to take it without demanding a guarantee first. I still want to try again, Jesus. Somewhere underneath the disappointment, I know that I do. I do not want fear to make my world smaller. I do not want every new opportunity to remind me only of what failed before. I do not want every kind person to pay for the dishonesty of someone else. I do not want to look at something good and immediately search for the way it might end. What happened before can teach me, but I do not want it controlling every decision I make now. Teach me how to be present again. I miss being able to have a quiet moment without turning it into time for worrying. I miss waking up and allowing the morning to begin before bringing every unfinished problem into my mind. I know some things need my attention, and I am not asking to escape responsibility. But thinking about a problem all day is not always the same as doing something useful about it. Sometimes there is an action I can take. Sometimes I have already done what I can, and all my extra thinking changes nothing. Give me wisdom for that difference. If there is a call I need to make, help me make it. If there is a conversation I have been avoiding, give me the right words and the courage to speak honestly. If I need to make a decision, help me use the information I have instead of waiting for a level of certainty that may never come. But when I reach something that is truly outside my control, teach me how to stop pushing against it with my mind, as if worry can move it. I have rushed because I was afraid of missing my chance, and I have stayed still because I was afraid of making the wrong choice. I have spent too much time searching for the perfect decision, the one choice that would protect me from every painful outcome. Maybe that choice does not exist. Even wise decisions can lead through difficult days. Even careful people face things they never expected. I still want wisdom, Jesus, but I no longer want to believe that if I think hard enough, I can control everything that happens afterward. Maybe I do not need to see the whole road. I know I have said that before, but I want to live like I believe it. Give me enough light for the next step. I have been asking for a complete map because I am afraid of getting lost, but maybe what I need is the assurance that I will not be alone wherever the road goes. I can work, prepare, pray, and make the best decision I know how to make, but after that, there is a point where the outcome leaves my hands. That is difficult for me, Jesus. I want to know that my effort will work before I give it. I want to know that a person will stay before I trust them. I want to know that a plan will succeed before I begin. I want life to promise me that I will not be disappointed again, but life cannot make that promise. So help me stop waiting for certainty before I allow myself to live. I can do what belongs to me without trying to control what does not. I can prepare for the conversation without controlling the other person's response. I can work hard without controlling every result. I can make a careful decision without knowing exactly where it will lead. I can pray for something deeply and still admit that I do not know how the answer will come. This is where I need you most, because I am reaching the edge of what I can manage by myself. There is still a question in me that I cannot ignore. What if things do not change soon? What if I wake up tomorrow and the same problem is waiting? What if the answer takes longer than I want? I do not have a brave speech for that. I know how I would like to respond, but I also know how discouraged I can become. So I will only say what feels true right now. If tomorrow is difficult, I will need you tomorrow too. If I am disappointed again, I want to bring that disappointment to you instead of turning it into a judgment about my whole life. If I make another mistake, help me learn from it without making shame my home. If something fails, help me grieve it without calling myself a failure. If a plan is delayed, keep me from deciding that my whole life is behind. I have allowed circumstances to tell me who I am, and they change too often to be trusted with that kind of authority. One bad season cannot define me. One closed door cannot tell me what every future door will do. One person's decision does not decide my worth. I have been so focused on what went wrong that I almost forgot something simple. I am still here. There were days I did not know how I would get through, and somehow I did. There were problems that once occupied every thought, and now I can remember them without feeling the same fear. There were situations I was certain would never change, and eventually something changed, even if it was not the answer I expected. I do not say that because I think the future will be easy. I say it because fear has spoken to me as if every difficult moment will last forever, and fear has been wrong before. There is still hope in me, Jesus. It may not be loud, but it is here. I know because after everything that disappointed me, I still care about what happens next. I still want to build something good. I still want peace. I still believe there are days ahead that I have not seen yet. I want hope again, but not the kind that depends on every plan happening exactly the way I imagined. I want a hope that can survive a change of direction. A hope that lets me make plans without making them my whole identity. A hope that can be disappointed without dying. I want to stop treating every morning like a warning. I want to wake up without immediately asking what will go wrong today. I want to receive good news without searching for the hidden problem. I want to enjoy a peaceful hour without thinking that something bad must be waiting behind it. I know these habits may not disappear in one morning, but help me notice them when they come. When fear says, "Here we go again, give me a moment before I agree." When something goes wrong, help me deal with that thing instead of turning it into a prediction about everything ahead. I have spent too much time telling myself that peace will come later, after the money problem is solved, after the answer comes, after the difficult conversation, after I know what to do next. There is always something else that must happen before I allow myself to breathe, but I still have to live today. I do not want to postpone my heart until every problem is gone, because I do not know when that day will come. Give me peace here in an unfinished life. Not fake peace that denies what is difficult, but enough quiet inside me to live the day that is actually here. I still need to work, speak to people, make decisions, eat, rest, and notice the people I love. I cannot keep allowing every unfinished problem to occupy every hour. Some things may remain unresolved tonight, and I need to know that I can still close my eyes. So I am leaving some questions unanswered for now. I have asked my mind to produce answers it does not have, and then punished myself when it could not. I will do what I can today. When I reach the edge of what I can do, help me recognize it. I may reach for control again later. When I do, bring me back without shame. I am learning this slowly. Not knowing what comes next does not mean that nothing good can come next. I am not saying every plan will work or every door will open. I am simply admitting that fear cannot see the future either. I have listened to it as though it knows what is waiting for me, but it does not. I cannot see the whole road, and fear cannot see it either. You can see what I cannot, and for today, I want to rest in that. When this prayer ends, some of my problems may still be waiting. The bill may still need to be paid. The decision may still need to be made. The conversation may still be difficult. I am not asking you to make me forget my life. I am asking you to help me return to it, without carrying 10 imaginary futures on my back. Give me a clear mind for what needs attention, and a quieter heart about what cannot be solved today. And if something good happens today, help me notice it. I have been watching so closely for the next problem that I may have missed small moments of goodness. If someone I love laughs with me, let me be there instead of somewhere else in my thoughts. If one small thing works out, help me receive it without saying it is not enough. I do not want to become someone who only knows how to survive problems. I want to live the life that is still happening between them. I came into this prayer frustrated because it felt as if nothing was going right. I still do not have every answer, and I will not pretend every problem disappeared while I was praying. But I do not feel the same need to solve my whole life in this moment. Maybe trust is not always a strong feeling. Maybe sometimes it is simply staying with you when I do not understand. Maybe it is praying again after disappointment. Maybe it is taking the next step without knowing where the fifth step will lead. That is the trust I need, Jesus. Something quiet and real. When I leave this prayer, help me carry my situation differently. Let me remember that something can be difficult without becoming the whole story. Something can hurt without deciding my future. I can have questions and still move forward. I can be uncertain and still take one honest step. I have stared at what went wrong for long enough. I do not know what can still be built from here, and maybe I do not need to know today. Help me stand up again without pretending I am fearless. Let me move forward as I really am, still carrying some questions and still healing from disappointment, but no longer willing to let fear write an ending I have not lived. Some things have gone wrong, Jesus, and I will not pretend otherwise. Some plans failed, some doors closed, and some answers did not come when I wanted them. But I am still here, and my life is still happening. I do not want to spend the rest of it believing that one difficult season already knows how my whole story ends. So I give you what I cannot control, the outcomes I keep trying to predict, the doors I cannot force open, the answers I cannot hurry, and the future I cannot see. Show me what belongs in my hands today, and help me leave the rest with you. If the next step is small, let it still count. If I am afraid, stay close while I take it. If something goes wrong again, remind me that one difficult moment does not mean everything is lost. I do not know exactly what is ahead, but I no longer want fear to tell me. Keep my heart from becoming hard because of disappointment, and keep me from believing that every difficult day is a picture of my future. I place what I cannot control into your hands, and I ask for enough wisdom to know what to do, enough courage to do it, and enough peace to leave tomorrow where it belongs. I will take this day as it comes, Jesus, and I will walk the next part of this road with you. In the name of Jesus, I pray, amen.